I'm looking at our chat. Yep, we are live. All right. So, hey, if nothing else, this is going to be entertaining with Steve Infante on the phone. I can tell you this. Anyone that's listening that doesn't know Steve, he's been in this industry for a long time. I'm going to date us both a little bit here. But Steve Infante is the Vice President of Channel Sales for NICE. He's been, I'm going to say, over 20 years in the customer experience, employee experience industry.
And you're being kind. You're being kind.
Steve he's worked for a lot of huge organizations: Accenture, Cisco, Five9, and most recently with NICE. So just really quickly, my name is Brad Scott. I'm the Vice President here at TTEC Digital for professional services. I manage our NICE CX1 practice. So I've been in the industry, man, I can't believe it, even longer. I've been in about 29 years now. I've had executive and leadership roles for Aspect Software and NICE Communications. Nuance Communications, and now recently partnering a lot with NICE. So yeah, Steve, we are dating ourselves here, unfortunately, but that's okay. We're now in a world of AI, and I think you and I probably remember when we didn't even have cell phones. So things have progressed quite a bit in this industry. So this is an exciting time. I think it's an exciting industry to be part of. And today I think we're going to talk, broadly, and this is a very broad topic. So we'll keep this free flowing, but I think we can go multiple directions. But we're going to really talk about humanizing UI for a better customer experience. I mean, in general, and I think that just for me, I do a lot of research on AI, like most of us do in this industry, and I think about, I don't know, something like 90% of the market researchers, say that AI is going to affect almost every industry a lot, but only about 30% of them really know exactly what that looks like. So, I think it's a good segue into, where we're seeing this going. What are you seeing? And, again, not only are you at NICE, but, you've been with other large organizations that, this AI was somewhat newer back then, right? So I feel like that we kind of catapulted more into AI and more automation, and especially after we went through the COVID time and all of that, where everything's virtual now. Where normally, I guess you and I would be in the same room having these conversations, right? Everything is just really expanded into a virtual world. So, what are you seeing out there, Steve?
Yeah, Brad. Thanks for having me back here. I don't know if you can hear that, but anyway, I'm getting a lot of similarities to what we've seen throughout. You look at the big waves of technology that have shifted. We've gone from the big mainframes to distributed processing, and then you've gone from analog to digital, and then you've gone to IP with your voice technology, and now moving from on-prem to the cloud for just your data center services and so forth. And this big wave of moving to the cloud is now initiated and accelerated the adoption of AI and the acceleration of AI in the marketplace. And what I've seen at first is all of this technology coming at customers. And so what does it mean? What does it do for you? How do you find value in it? And how do you quantify that value? And we're at a point in time where the technologies are there. They'll continue to evolve. But how do you take that technology, deploy it in a way that has measurable value behind it? And that's where we're at right now. And I'm starting to see, a lot of people say, what's your AI strategy? And I've always kind of had this position that I don't think you need an AI strategy. You need a business alignment strategy, and how do you use AI tools aligned to that strategy? And right. I think the companies that get that concept of leveraging the tools of AI to get to a strategic outcome right. are the ones that are going to win the day.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And, you and I both spend a lot of time talking with our customers in the market. And, you're right. Everybody says, we want to do AI. We're not really sure what that means. We don't really know where to start. And we try to start, low hanging fruit, but I think you said it best. It's important to look at your overall business strategy, and then you take that business strategy and then you back in AI, and different components into that. And I think that allows customers and our businesses really to expand the way they need to expand. And I think AI has, when we say no one really understands AI, it's because I think AI has a different meaning to every business, right? I guess in a perfect world, as we go out and we talk to our customers, we're like, what do you want? And I think number one, they want to be understood. They want a system or a person to know why they're calling. They want to know why they've called in the past. They want to know all that history. So, AI gives us that ability to pull in all of that data in order to do that. So it can go back and, in a millisecond, go find all the information about that customer, why I, Brad Scott, called X customer, why I called last time, who I spoke with. And now as we kind of get more and more enhanced AI, it can really even take things that I'm saying and understanding the way I'm saying those things as well. So I think, in a perfect world, every person that calls into a contact center, they want to have their own dedicated customer service rep that knows everything about them, right? So I think that is where we're going with different AI type technologies that allow that to happen, because it would be an impossible cost for anyone to pay to have a dedicated concierge type resource, right? But now we're seeing that with AI. And are you seeing more and more of your end customers looking for those types of solutions?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you hit it right on the head when we talk about that. The customer calling in, they want to be heard, and they want to be heard. I think they want to have resolution to whatever issue that they have, and they want to have it be in an experience that is, whether it be empathetic or just personal or whatever their condition is, that it's a pleasurable experience from beginning to end. When they hang up that phone, everybody's used to calling into a contact center, hitting 0 and yelling at everybody, and then having to get transferred and getting hung up on and then transferred and having to start all over again. So the table stakes are having a seamless experience. That is now, you have to do, that's table stakes now. That used to be the goal. That's phase one of a broader goal now. And that second broader goal is to have that seamless experience, but have it be, and when we say human, it doesn't necessarily need to be a human being. It just has to have the type of characteristic. The call, the interaction needs to be meet the customer where they want to be met, on the device that they want to be met with the data that they need. And there's going to be calls like into a healthcare and a insurance thing where somebody's calling because somebody in their family might be very gravely ill, and have it be press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Maybe they need to talk to a human being, or maybe they need to have an AI experience that says, let me get you to somebody who can help you with this, and transfer it over there. So seamless experience layered on top of with human experience. And by human, I mean an empathetic and experience where the customer is being heard. That's the difference that's the good to great, in where the AI and human blending of an interaction in the contact center needs to go now. And the people, again, the customers that get that, the customers that are driving towards that type of an outcome are the ones that are going to, differentiate themselves from their competitors, for sure.
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great answer. And we talk a lot about, humanizing AI. And I think it's very important for people to understand that, the ultimate goal isn't to replace people. Humans are still needed. There's so many customers that I know I speak to on a daily basis. I know you do as well. That are very high touch type customers, right? So our partners, everyone that they need that high touch. They want that interaction. So it doesn't mean that we're trying to replace humans. What we're trying to do is really enhance the ability of the outcome of that particular, maybe your customer service rep handling a call, and that whatever that may be, an airline or medical, whatever it may be, and give that ability to really go quicker and be more accurate on your responses, right? So we have again, there's so many different AI platforms there that's there to assist customer service reps. And, we're seeing huge advances on, the technology in those areas. It just makes things go so much smoother. Everything is right there at the fingertips of the customer service rep, which is, anyone that's done that job, that is not an easy job. You've got to know so many things. You rewind back 20 years ago, back when you and I were probably still old, but, 20 years ago, they had 50 different screens up and things were popping up everywhere. And they've got 2 keyboards and 3 different monitors and trying to do these things. So now they have a box up now that they have AI running that's, a co-pilot type system that's really helping them, listening to the calls and really help them guide them through that. So I know me personally, I'm seeing more and more activity in those areas. But again, still adding in that human experience. So, you as the end user, customers are having that conversation with a real person. Because, we've got some customers that really want to talk to a real person. And, that sometimes is the downside of some of the automation, I think, with AI is some of these systems now are getting so sophisticated. The virtual type agents, the virtual generative AI type chatbots. They seem so real that these people really think this is a real thing. I do it myself. I'm like, is this a real person? Is this an AI you don't know what it is anymore. So, thinking in those lines, what are you seeing out there? Things that, and we always talk about what scares us with AI, and you don't have to jump to the extreme Terminator view of that. Yeah. What are you seeing out there, with your customers that they're worried about? We know security is a big one, but what other things, other than the doomsday scenario that we all talk about?
Yeah, sure. I'll avoid the Terminator reference here, but I think what boils down to is there's kind of like a matrix of ways to look at interactions, right? There are simple interactions that don't require empathy, do not require humans, that are simple, that are transactional in nature, where it is a change of address or account balance, et cetera, where you can speak into and then you have a digital response and it's clean and it's easy, where it's not required. And we get those transactions off the table by a simple bot type of an experience. Then you're going to have the very complex, nuanced conversations where it's going to require an agent, a human interaction. But those types of interactions require the things you talked about: co-pilot, next best actions, having the ability to have the data that's been collected travel with the call if it needs to go to somebody else, so that it remains seamless. And those transactions are at the opposite end, which are the most complex. And a lot of times the human being picking up the phone may not be the right person or may not have the empathy that they need. So the supervisors need to have access. And so that's a very complex type of a transaction that sits there in between. And then, as you kind of click one down, being able to have an automated experience that has some level of empathy also, but it has a seamless kind of a feel where, you don't need to talk to a human being, but yet you still feel heard. Right. Empathy is not always the answer. Like, you don't have to tell everybody on every single call, oh, I hope you're having such a wonderful day. But being heard is such a key component of it. And you can be heard at all levels, and you can also be felt like you're not being heard at all levels. So really and truly having those kind of layers thought through, and your technology blended with the human agent and the supervisors blended in to treat every type of transaction the way it should be treated, to allow for the customer to feel heard, empathized with, but most importantly, to bring to a conclusion, a resolution that is satisfactory, or even viewed as very positive by the customer. Because again, as we all know, loyalty, especially in the digital age post-COVID, is so dependent on customer service these days. It's become the number one kind of category of brand loyalty, is around how they feel from a service perspective.
Right. I think that's good too. And I think that, as we talk about tailoring different AI solutions and brand loyalty is huge. We think about things that we use every day on our phones, whatever that may be. I'm using my banking app, or I'm using things to book hotels, or I'm booking, flights. I think the brand loyalty is huge. But I think, as we talk about some of the things that worry us a little bit is just losing that personal connection of, I'm calling my airline and, I'm a platinum member and I usually get a certain group of people or whatever it may be. I think that's something that, when I talk to end customers and I talk to our customers directly as we're starting to implement these solutions, they want to make sure that they don't lose that and lose their brand. So, I think as we think about how we design some of these solutions, us here at TTEC Digital, that's the first thing we do is we want to make sure that we fully understand the brand. We want to understand the direction in which they're going. And, as you said before, you don't really start with AI. You start with a solution of what you're trying to do, right? Here's high level. This is something that we're trying to go. This is a problem we're trying to fix. We gotta have something to fix it, right? And then, easily start layering in those different levels of AI as we do that. And I think that's key for us, and that's key for all of our customers to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think TTEC Digital does such a great job with exactly that, not going in and trying to sell a bunch of stuff, right? And that, there are customers out there that, you had alluded before, like you ask them what they want. A lot of times they don't know what they want. They want you to tell them what they need, and what you guys do so well, and why our partnership is on the launch pad and taking off as quickly and as robustly as it is because of that exact philosophy and strategy that you guys go to market with. So that combined with, having, the technology solutions and I would argue the platform, which has a lot of the different components, or all the different components that you would need to execute on that business strategy. As you said, you guys kind of help the customer decide what the business strategy is. I always do kind of a swivel chair, like, here is where the business strategy is. Okay, now let's turn this way and pull the technologies and process and people into the mix to solve for the strategy that sits over here. And what you guys do is help become that journey partner for a customer from where you start to where you need to go and what technologies need to be pulled forward. And I think that's where, the technologies that NICE brings, and not to get into a commercial, and what you guys do from a standpoint of that journey partner, that's why there's such a great partnership and great marriage between our two companies. Absolutely.
And you liked how I had to put the little plug in for my company as we're doing this conversation. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, no.
I don't know if I'm breaking any rules here or not, but but yeah, no, we value that partnership. I think we're going in the same directions as well as two different companies. So it's a great marriage as far as that partnership. So I know we're probably going to have some comments that's going to pop up. I want to start one more really quick, just to make sure that we cover this one. But just from a KPI standpoint, from how do you see out there that customers are managing success? What types of tools or what are you hearing? What's the jump? What's the increase in their productivity, either from their agents or having the ability to make things go quicker and go more easily for the end customers?
Yeah, it's an interesting, and I found it to kind of it's evolving, where some of the old KPIs that pre-AI were around time to resolution, and things of that, and moving to AI, how many agents you can get rid of and minimize it, and those things are not nearly, if at all, relevant anymore. And I think what's becoming more and more relevant are things like the customer satisfaction and those types of scoring around brand loyalty, around anything that has to do with customer retention, cross-sell, upsell, where, if somebody's having a transaction thing where, like if you can abandonment rates on online transactions of stuff like that, those are more important now and more measurable. I've always believed, and I've always used this kind of analogy that, KPIs, if you put them in a PowerPoint, they're soft KPIs. If you can put them in a spreadsheet, then they're hard KPIs. And sometimes loyalty is a nebulous thing, but being able to quantify those types of things through, cross-sell, upsell opportunities, less abandonment rate. And I've created in my head this, the time to resolution, not call, time to call completion or whatever, but call to resolution for satisfactory resolution. So looking at solving the problem and also the upside of creating a good experience are things that are way more important, harder to measure, but if you can measure those in a spreadsheet, those are really the things that people are moving towards and away from some of those more archaic or less important KPIs that existed before.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's key. And every time that I'm talking to leaderships within our customers, I ask that question, and I always expect kind of a long answer from them on what they're expecting to see and how they're measuring, and they always come back with the two things. I just kind of wrote it down, but it's customer satisfaction is number one, and revenue growth is number two. And that's really what they look to do with these technologies and the AI solutions, and really any of the automated type technologies. That is what's in the back of their mind. Every CFO that's out there, if they're watching this presentation, then they're probably nodding their head. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. That's the ROI that we're looking for. So,
make it easier to do business.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's absolutely key. So I know we have a couple minutes left. I can switch over to the comments here. I'm looking. Let's see. Somebody's already beat me to it. It's popping up there on the screen now. All right. So I guess I'm assuming we both can see this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I'm thinking about legacy without making.
Interesting. Yeah. I think the answer to that, in my opinion, is the obvious answer is, well, it depends. Obviously, where you're starting in the legacy tech stack and to where you're going. I think what you do is you look at the industry that you're in and what are the key metrics and KPIs that you're looking to drive towards, and then So I always think that having some out of the box stuff like a co-pilot assistant, whether it be I think that almost transcends any type of industry vertical, that where if you can provide a person help to get to an answer, it will translate into helping others get the answers that they need. If you're calling me to get an answer, even if it's an internal question, to be able to provide the answer and support. So I think that's one area that I think is a kind of quote unquote low-hanging fruit without making major changes, because there's a lot of that technology that exists in the marketplace out of the box. That's one area. I don't know if you want to, if you have another area or something to add to that, but that's certainly one that comes to mind. For me.
No, and I think whoever put that question, that is a great question, and I think it's probably a longer answer. And I think you touched on some of that. Is it kind of really depends on where you're at, and again what your roadmap looks like. I think that. You can do things where it's not major changes. We've had customers in the past. I've worked with a lot of customers who, we always say, hey, let's start off with the low hanging fruit. Those are, less type changes. You want to do, start taking automated payments online, or you want to do things like, address changes. These are simpler things. And what we do and to make that easier with our existing customers, we always want to go back and we kind of go work with those customers. We make a list of, okay, here's all the things that we do every day. Here's the types of interactions that we're doing with customers. And we kind of look at those and we're like, all right, what's these simple ones that really take a lot of time for our representatives to do? Let's automate those first. And those are things that we can do without such major changes. When you start getting deeper into multiple languages and doing the chat bots and doing, more of the virtual agents, then I don't think there's anything that is very easy. They're more easily done now than they were in the past, but they still are time consuming. And it really, again, goes back to the data that we're getting the information from, right? We got to make sure that it's the right data, and that data is continuously being updated. So I think there's a lot of things that happen when we're talking AI from a change perspective. That's all around the technologies, right? So, and we say that a lot, right? It's kind of, it goes outside the application, and those are all the big buckets that you have to think about with AI.
Great point. Great point. Great point.
Hey, we know this guy.
Yes, the shift from CX to EX. All right, so I think they go very hand in hand. So customer experience towards employee experience, and employee experience. How I've always looked at it is how making it easier for an employee to do their job. So it drives two things. One, internally, it drives employee satisfaction, and then it drives retention, which then efficiency and cost savings all come from employee retention. So there's different KPIs, different ROI around having a really good EX strategy in place to support that. But then if you have high EX and making it easier for people to do their jobs, it translates very directly, in my opinion, into CX. Because if you have a highly motivated, satisfied employee with the tools they have to make their jobs easier, I think they become pretty well equipped to help their customers. And so it's the next layer up to have happy employees to get to happy customers.
That's right. Hey, listen, happy employees, again, they're going to increase that top line, the bottom line. Again, revenue is going to go up. You've got customers, employees that are working harder. We're giving them tools to allow them to work smarter. They're taking more calls in a day. Their numbers are higher. There's a lot of customer service reps that are comped on, how many they do in a day. And when we're providing technology for them to do that and to be, again, more efficient with their jobs, again, everybody's going to be happy in that. So I think that's kind of the icing on the top of AI in general, again, is having happy employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We got a comment in our chat. The synergy enhances satisfaction and productivity on both fronts, fostering continuous improvement and growth. That's a great way to take what you and I said in a lot of words and putting it down and synthesizing it into one statement. That's very powerful, Todd. So thank you for putting that out there. You couldn't be more spot on.
Absolutely. Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's great. So I think we got 2 minutes left, my friend.
We do. I think, we could talk about doomsday AI Terminator stuff, or, that I don't know if we want to
let's leave on a high note. Let's leave it on a high note. And I think what I just like to leave it with is thinking that there's a really good, we're at a really great point in time in CX EX kind of a time and place where the technology is moving very quickly, but there's companies like a TTEC Digital and others that are out there that are helping kind of be those journey partners. There's companies like NICE that provide a platform to be able to provide that, and finding customers jointly, or if the people out listening are end users and customers, I say you don't need an AI strategy, you need a business strategy, and you need to understand the tools to bring those to fulfill the strategy. That's number one. And number two is to create an environment with measurable KPIs that are driving the right types of behavior and the right types of results that you need. And it's, and the KPIs are about satisfaction, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and revenue is driven as a result of all that. There are very measurable KPIs in the new world of AI that will allow you to be successful. So those are just kind of if I were to summarize our conversation, those are the areas that I would put my stake in.
I like it. I like it. That's a great way to end it on a positive note. That's awesome.
Yeah. No Terminators. No Terminators.
You're right. Listen, AI is going in a great direction. I think all of our companies are, we're on board. End customers are on board. Everybody's using it. We've got to make sure we use it in the right way, in the most efficient way, right? So again, thank you so much, Steve, for joining, and thank you for everything. Thanks for the partnership. Thanks for spending some time with me today.
It was great conversation as always, Brad. And we were talking earlier about doing a push-up contest. We didn't get to that, but we'll figure that out next time, my friend.
That will be the next one. That will be the next one. I will be
preparing. It's a great teaser to get to the next one. We're going to do a push-up contest.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Yes, sir. Take care.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care.
Steve.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.